name is Chase Johnson. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and we have used C3 Group several times on some of our large loss commercials and our higher end residential for their appraisal services and their public adjusting services. Their knowledge of the market, of the ever-changing regulations, and their ability to create a very thorough estimate from an understanding of construction and the management of the project.
Good afternoon, everyone. Lead meteorologist John Choquette here for our daily 12 p.m. hail forecast, sponsored by C3 Group and Merlin Law Group. This hail forecast is also going to probably be more focused in on being a tropical forecast, as we now have Tropical Storm Barry formed in the Gulf of Mexico. More details on that in just a moment. Our website and our app, as always, if you're having any issues and need some guidance, we are here to help you out. Give us a call and we'll be happy to set up a training at your convenience, and we can get everybody all squared away, so that way if a big storm happens, or even you're just trying to new to hail trace and you're trying to figure everything out, we will get you guys set up properly. So forecast for today. So we're going to jump right to that hail forecast, assuming my computer will decide to actually do something about it. Oop. Oh, hang on, we got getting some PowerPoint problems. 1 second. Looks like the program is not responding for some reason. There we go. Okay. So on Thursday, that is today, we have 3 areas we're looking at. We got to the west of Billings, we have 2% chance you could see some marginally severe hail. That's going to be late this evening after probably about 8 o'clock or so. The biggest hail is possible across, actually probably more so towards Winnipeg than Winnipeg, Manitoba, right? Is that the province, I believe? Winnipeg looks like they have the best chance of seeing the chance of having big hail, 5% up to golf ball size hail, at least on the state side. A little to the north, maybe upwards of 2.5 inch hail. We'll be watching Canada, as we always do. And finally, off to the east, pretty low end chance here from Toronto all the way down to Pittsburgh, possibly even closer towards Lexington. Maybe some hail. For the most part, I think this area here is going to be much more of a wind threat, as storms are more likely to be line segments and a squall line, all those things that cause more wind than hail. But again, 2% chance you could see some storms upwards of $50 size. Going to look at that future radar, I'll move off, pretty much off screen here. You can see as storms form this afternoon into this evening, moving towards the Atlantic Ocean, towards that east coast. Initial storms, if they can stay isolated, especially right there by Toronto, we could see some activity, but for the most part, I think we're going to see more wind with this stuff going into this afternoon and evening. Going further north and further west, storms will form after about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock or so. Again, there could be big hail with these guys, but I think unless it hits Winnipeg or maybe meanders its way down far enough to be towards Fargo, which I don't think is going to happen. I think this is going to be much more big hail over a bunch of nothing, and then move on and die off this evening by the time the sun goes down. Okay, so those are the last 8 years from west to northeast. Last night was unheard of. No, I don't think so. Storms can pretty much move in any direction, as long as they'll move with whatever current is going on at the time. So you're going north-south, south-north. I mean, I say go east-west before. It honestly just kind of comes down to what is the prevalent forcing nature for a thunderstorm. So anyway, before we get into the tropics, talking about tomorrow's forecast for hail, it's going to be off to the north here. Kind of a nice little band. This is a pretty isolated threat, and there could be a couple storms here and there scattered everywhere from the Great Lakes region back towards Billings, Montana. Right now, saying up to $50 size hail. Tomorrow, we might be able to fine-tune it a little bit better to see, okay, maybe this particular area will have hail maybe a little bigger than that if storms form, or over here, whatnot. So that's just a preliminary forecast for now, up to $50 size. And yeah, nothing to worry about there, William Roach. So that future radar, last check for this. I might have to get off the screen here so you can see everything. Again, this one had some storms over by Minneapolis, which at the moment I'm not going to ring alarm bells about or anything. Storms back to the west in areas that have been hit pretty frequently the past couple weeks across Wyoming and towards the Rapid City area. But otherwise, hail-wise, things are a little quiet. difference, though, down in the tropics as things are starting to get a little more interesting. As of 10 a.m. this morning Central Time, Tropical Storm Barry has formed in the Gulf of Mexico. But the center of the storm right here, it is, as you can see, kind of lopsided. There is some dry air right now mixing in, so that northern half of the storm isn't producing any sort of real rain. A lot of moisture down to the south here. Max winds at 40 miles an hour. This is expected to increase in strength over the next 24 to 36 hours, as this looks like we're kind of zeroing in on Louisiana. Unfortunately, portions near New Orleans, where there's been a lot of rain already. The Mississippi River is very high, so there is that risk for some serious flooding with this. In terms of winds, I'm not thinking anything too crazy. I'm kind of leaning with the National Hurricane Center at the moment of a low-end hurricane when Barry makes landfall. Possible landfall locations, I've narrowed that down to just to the west of Gulfport, to outside chance of getting it all the way to Lake Charles right now. And most of the models are pretty much landing on somewhere around here. I think there's a town called Morgan City that will be the closest to the eye of this storm. And yes, Hail Trace will be tracing this tropical system as it approaches land and makes landfall, and we'll be doing live coverage with that. I will not be on that one, but other meteorologists, Derek and whatnot, they will all be on that. This is what the National Hurricane Center, has posted that latest track. Looks like by 7 a.m. Saturday, we're looking at a low-end hurricane making landfall across south central sections of Louisiana. I'm kind of agreeing with that. I might even go a little further east, might get pretty close, make a close brush to New Orleans. New Orleans could see some of the strongest winds with this, upwards of 75 miles an hour. Again, if it pushes a little further west, more time over water means the stronger it can get. Right now, it's starting to really look like it's going to shoot north and then move up into the Great Lakes region, dump some rain, and kind of kill our severe weather threat for a few days as a tropical system moves in. So, he'll be hanging with Cantori. Yeah, that's probably the case. We do see those guys out there. So anyway, 40 miles an hour now. It's moving west at 5 right now. It's going to drag all the way to the coast. And that will be, again, we'll be doing live coverage of that once the team leaves tomorrow to head down towards Louisiana to do live coverage, figure out where they're going to go. You know, obviously flooding may be the largest concern with this storm. The winds getting upwards of 70 is nothing crazy, but again, they also could rapidly intensify. These are hurricanes. They are a little harder to see what they're going to do. Sometimes they do some surprising things. So follow us here on Facebook. Hit see first, as always, so you don't miss any of our posts, especially when once the journey to Louisiana begins. Don't want to miss any of our live coverage of the tropical storm, hopefully Hurricane Barry, upon landfall. Give us a call at 855-334-4245 with any comments, questions, or concerns you may have, or if you need to set up a training, or if you're interested in what Hail Trace has to offer. You can also find more information at hailtrace.com. You can also email us at info@hailtrace.com and follow us on Instagram at hailtrace, where I'm sure there'll be multiple updates, especially during the tropical event. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. like we do every single day here on whatever platform you're watching us on. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow.